Hi, I'm Dan Toomey, a Principal Consultant for Mexia and a Microsoft Azure MVP. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about a recent blog post I wrote on the new Azure Hybrid Connections. Hybrid Connections was a concept that was introduced a few years ago as a preview feature in Microsoft Azure BizTalk services. It enabled you to easily connect your Azure web apps and mobile apps to your on-premises systems without making any changes to your corporate network. Through the simple configuration of a hybrid connection and the installation of a listener agent within your network, your cloud-hosted services could connect to your back-end line of business systems just as though they were part of the same network. There were no VPNs or firewall changes required, and even the connection strings that worked on-prem would work just the same when you lifted and shifted your service to the cloud. Of course, BizTalk Services is officially being retired now, and it's no longer possible to create new instances. However, Hybrid Connections is still alive and well and is now available as part of Azure Relay, a new feature of Azure Service Bus. Even better, the service has been improved to include an API which makes it far more versatile than the original offering. For example, you're no longer confined to using it with just web and mobile apps. In my post, I go through the process of creating the hybrid connection using the Azure portal. I then take you through a couple of samples that are freely available on GitHub, courtesy of Microsoft. The first sample, which you can have up and running in no time, sets up a simple relay to exchange blocks of text between two console apps. This doesn't look terribly impressive until you realize that one app is hosted on a virtual machine running in Azure, and the other app is hosted on premises, in this case, in a virtual machine hosted in Hyper-V on my laptop. Notice that there is absolutely no delay between the sending and receiving of the messages. This is real-time communication, not like the asynchronous type of messaging we would typically experience via queues and topics. The second sample is a little more complex, but also relatively easy to set up. PortBridge provides a point-to-point tunneling utility that can map TCP listener ports and name pipes across machines in two different networks. The sample allows you to run the client and the listener as either a console app or as a Windows service. I used my same two virtual machines for this exercise and expanded the sample to include calling both a locally hosted web service and a SQL Server database from a cloud-based client. Notice that everything is managed in the configuration of the two agents. Here's the on-prem agent config, which identifies the host name and the list of ports that are to be opened. And here's the cloud agent configuration, which specifies the port mappings. Notice you can even include virtual firewall rules to restrict access from specific IP addresses. Running my test consoles proved that I can readily access both the web service, which is a simple Echo app, and the SQL Server database by running a query to return the number of rows in a table. The new hybrid connection includes the same code-free functionality as before for connecting web apps, whereby you can download and install a dedicated listener agent into your network, and everything will just work. However, the API expands this connectivity to many more scenarios. For example, allowing a virtual machine in Azure to access your back-end on-prem systems. Or maybe even connecting a Service Fabric cluster to your corporate databases. I hope you've enjoyed this brief video, and I hope you enjoyed the blog post as well. But even more than that, I hope you get a chance to investigate and discover the new capabilities of the Azure Hybrid Connections and how it can facilitate your digital transformation by bringing the cloud and your enterprise closer together. Again, I'm Dan Toomey from Mexia. Have a great day.